Hi, it's Stephanie from the Quilters Planner, and today I want to tell you about a Scant 1/4-inch seam allowance. What is it? Why do you need it? How do you get it? A Scant 1/4-inch just means it's about a thread's width more narrow than a regular seam allowance. So a Scant 1/4-inch seam allowance takes into account the thickness of the thread as you open up your seam, and so it makes it just slightly more narrow, slightly more accurate. And if you can imagine, across a 70-inch wide quilt, this could really add up. And so designers who write patterns often will specify, please use a Scant 1/4-inch when sewing these blocks so you have a little bit more accuracy. So now let me show you how it's done using one of my favorite tools, the Ideal Seam Cage. So I'm just going to remind you in this video how I get my Scant 1/4-inch seam allowances. It's really effective, the Ideal Seam Cage, and you can see it comes with lots of different measurements for seam allowances. Here's the Scant 1/4-inch, and can you see there's a tiny hole right there? So I'm going to take this and place it under my foot and use the hand wheel to carefully lower the needle into the hole. It's purple, so it's a little dark for you to see, but I just lowered it into the hole, and then straighten up your Ideal Seam Gauge. And then you can also get these cute little sticky, reusable, replaceable seam allowance guides. And you're going to line it right up along the Ideal Seam Gauge. And now when you gently lift up your needle and remove the gauge, your guide will be exactly where you need it to be to get a Scant 1/4-inch seam allowance. All right, so let's now sew our perfect little blocks. And now if you can check out my measurement, so here's a 1/4-inch, and the thread is just on the inside of that black dotted line. So that's what we call scant. Perfect.